So hello everyone, we are here with the Calibre crew and we are talking with some friends of ours. The guys we talked to for Parallel Passions. They are an evil bunch. They started selling us clothes that we didn't know we needed. It's the group from Signet. We're gonna introduce you to them, to some of them. It's a very interesting group. It has four guys that started out because of their level of passion for clothing and the finer things in life. But it's also very value oriented because it's not, arguably, it's not heavily branded. It's not mainstream in any way, but it hits the touch points that people want nowadays in terms of authenticity, in terms of value, in terms of uniqueness, in terms of knowing your consumer, knowing your market, and knowing your supplier, which is extremely important nowadays. So we're going to bring them in now. With us now, we have Jason Kwa and Eddie Lim. They are two of the four founders of Signet, and they are very bad for your pocketbook.
Hi, Carl.
So, hey Jason, hey Eddie. The other two guys are Kelly C and Tom Singh, who are not here with us, but who we know quite well. And it's really interesting. I did not know that they started as early as they did, but they did, and so now we're going to have a little chat with them. Jason and Eddie, thank you very much for joining us. Can you please tell us a little bit about how you started and how did you guys know each other? And this is them.
Thanks for having us, Carl.
Our pleasure.
Well, me and Eddie, we actually knew each other way back around 2006, 2007. Believe it or not, we met on an online forum about denim called Super Future.
Okay, yeah.
And then we met up a few times here in Manila. Like, oh, there's a guy from Manila on this forum. So then we started to parallel import some shoes from the UK, which your viewers might know, Trickers.
Okay.
And then through our friends, we met Kelly and Tom. So through that connection, we started to talk, and we figured out, we both wanted to open a menswear retail store for the brands that we really care about, we really obsess about, we really just wanted to represent them here in Manila. Honestly, we didn't know if anybody would be buying from us, if we would make any money at all, but we just wanted to just start and maybe 5 years later, we have two branches and we're here.
Okay, well that's good. One of the interesting things here, when I first walked into your shop, which was the first actual storefront in Makati, it looked to me like, well, I would say an old East Coast men's clothing store, which chooses their brands very carefully, has collaborations and so on. There it is. See, it was so cool. It was this little shop that you wouldn't really notice unless you walked by and paid attention, and it was very nice. And but it's also actually more like a similar concept that's quite popular in Japan, where there's one or two people that have their vision and their taste, and they just kind of make very highly curated choices. They know their clientele, they personally know their suppliers, and so it's quite interesting. What's also interesting is that you guys have very different, I don't know if I say styles, or very different looks or different ideas. Like Eddie, for example. Eddie's the workwear guy, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, when I came in, I think I came in. I walked out with a suit immediately, so it was completely unexpected. No, I didn't. I walked out with shirts. Then I got the suit. But so how did you guys weren't a barkada or anything beforehand? It was really it was really the clothing and the desire for the clothing that brought you all together, right?
Yeah, I think it's because of the commonality from all these things. We didn't know that Kelly and Tom were into this also. So when we started chatting, that's when we knew now. Oh, okay, all right.
Okay. So do you all have your specific areas of expertise?
Yeah, Eddie takes care of the buying mostly for the rugged side.
Mm.
Kelly takes care of the buying for the more refined side of the Signet. I handle mostly the finance side, and then operationally, we share roles. The trunk shows is managed by Kelly. Day to day, it's mostly me and Eddie.
Okay, okay. So that's why when you walk in, that's we tend to see you guys. Okay, so but if Eddie is the guy who looks for the workwear and so on, are there any other particular? I mean, how do you guys go out and find the people and the brands that you like?
Oh, most of the brands we have, they've been around. So it's just more of like having the right time to bring it in Manila.
Hmm.
It's more of like it's in our list. It's
Okay.
yeah. So it's like do you think we should start bringing this thing in, or maybe just like later on, or maybe after 2 years when people started you know graduating from like the first brand, or what we think is the entry brand for this for the brand we actually want to bring in.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's like a little, a little more of a tactic, or
All right.
yeah, something like that.
Okay. Basically, most of the people you carry, you already kind of know. You knew you wanted them, or you knew you would want to try them, and then you just
Mhm.
chose when to bring them in.
Mm.
Yeah, something like
All
that.
right.
A lot of the brands that we carried when we started, well, until today, most of them are brands that we've worn even before Signet. For example, Alden, we wanted to carry them since we opened. However, it was very difficult to get them. So it took us, I think, 3 to 4 years of trying to court them. Every time me and Kelly, or we would go to Pitti in Italy, we would pass by the booth, we would say hi, we would ask people to refer us to them to see if there's a possibility for us to carry them. The brands we chose for the store are brands that we really have worn, we've really tried them out. We know they're good, we know their history, we know that there's heritage for a lot of them, and that's one of the, I guess, the driving force on why we choose the brands that we carry.
Mhm. That Alden's an interesting one because Alden looks like it's extremely successful for you right now. I mean, you came in and you got to wait to get the shoes you want, basically. What was their reasoning behind taking so long to answer you?
Oh, I think
Maybe Eddie would
yeah,
be Eddie. Could you share your thoughts?
it's like number one. It's because one of the guys who handle Asia Pacific, except Japan, retired. So he's in his 70s or something, like mid 70s. He retired, so he had to pass on to his to the other guy, to a new guy, who's Steve, who's handling our account right now. I think it was just the transition. It's
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
it's because the last guy was like retiring, and he didn't want to get new accounts, or
Okay. Okay.
because he had so much things to do. But eventually, Steve took over, and then he was like hot from the beginning. So
All right.
yeah, so
Okay.
he
Because,
opened up.
because well, as you know, we do the watch side, and on the watch side, everybody wanted to be in the Philippines because it was such a growth area. It might not be a huge numbers area, but the growth that we were seeing, and I'm sure the growth that you were seeing, is just was almost exponential at that point. So any brand with any forethought should be exactly where you guys are. What are the other brands what are the brands that you were worried about that have turned out to do quite well here?
Actually, we
Uh,
worried about everything.
well,
Well, that's a good thing, right? Yeah.
honestly, we're worried about most of the brands that we carry because,
'Cause-
well, let's be honest. These aren't branded names. but then some of the prices can be
Shocking.
quite surprising. So yeah.
You know,
So honestly, most of the brands that we've carried, like, oh, is this really gonna sell? Really, Eddie? I
Yeah,
mean, we really
always.
like
We
it, so let's
always
just
have
try.
that. We're like,
well, okay. There, because okay, you guys have a wide variety of brands, and coming from my point of view, I see things that are, yes, extremely expensive, or extremely highly priced. But I also see things that I would see when I'm traveling, and I have to say that the prices that you guys offer are completely within reason for what the value is and what the prices are overseas if you're traveling. I mean, you can always get something cheaper, but it's not by much. And your clientele compares. They really compare because they can travel anywhere, and get your product.
Right.
But they like getting it from you guys because of the service you provide, of the connection you have with, when you fly in the suit maker or the pants maker or the vintage tie collector or the eyeglass maker. That's what they enjoy. So on one hand, yes, you have some brands that are, you can't believe they're that expensive, but on the other hand, you've got some that are just, you can argue that Alden, as an example, is expensive, but not when you compare it to what you could pay for something much less. For example, for a brand that people know. So I think your draw is that you can bring anybody in, and you have such a wide range. You've got jeans, you've got Japanese jeans that are household names, but you've also got products that very very few people would know. It's quite interesting.
Well, also about the pricing, one of the things we've been very conscious about since we started is we wanted to make the price as close as possible to international retail. So basically, if you go to the US or you go to Hong Kong, if you're gonna get a pair of Aldens, you would probably get it around the same price here, if ever a bit more, just slightly more expensive, or even sometimes cheaper. So we've been very conscious about that, about the pricing. Even though, of course, we would love to get a bit more margins. At the
Mhm.
end
of
of the
course.
day, this is really a passion project for us until now, and we really want to give the best value to our clients, so that you don't have to travel. It's just you can come here. We'll take care of you. If there's any problems, we'll patch it up.
Well, there are a lot of, and we'll use Alden as an example again. There is a following for Alden, but in the U.S., for example, quite often it's just by mail order because they don't have a shop that carries them in their area. So the fact that there is a shop in the Philippines where you can actually fit the right lasts and get the right stuff, it's actually a big deal. It just as people would find, let's say, the Armory in Hong Kong or somewhere in Singapore or somewhere in London to go to and then be able to choose their sizing, you offer that service in Manila. It's actually extremely convenient. And the pricing, it's just is within reason. Now you've done several collaborations with Alden that have worked out really really well. I gotta tell you, you nailed me the minute I walked in the darn door for some of those things, with something I was never planning on getting. So no, it's great. The other thing that people say is that your choices are extremely good for what the local consumer needs. And that local consumer needs a combination of tropical weather stuff, but also cold weather stuff. It comes down to the curating, actually. I think you guys are curating very well.
Thank you, Kurt. Yeah, we try our best because again, again, we won't try to pick like a specific clothing from a specific brand without actually, you know, i- imagining ourselves in it. That's why most of our stuff they don't go overboard. I mean, we don't want it to look too costumey or too plain. So we just have that small spectrum on that kind of how we curate on things. Sometimes if you look at the stuff we have in the store, it looks almost like too uniform. Like it's too It's everything looks the same, especially when they're like displayed together or beside each other. You want it to be, a classic piece for anyone who wants to come in and purchase something from us.
That's actually a good point because a lot of people that are used to a shop like this, they might be used to far more funky, outgoing styles. But in reality, what you guys have is, the quality comes out in terms of the choice of fabric, for example, or the weave, or the level of detail that someone puts into their shoes or their ties, or their pocket squares or whatever, or their umbrellas. Yeah, in some ways it's kind of like a uniform, but in other ways it's really really nice to see all those fabrics put together. It's quite nice, and I think you guys get amazing choices. There's some stuff there that I you can't find it that easily anywhere. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you. We try our
So
best.
how did you guys transition to? Because you're such a tactile store, right? You walk in, you have a very curated look. How did you transition? Because you've transitioned fairly well into this whole work from home, don't go into a store thing. How have you been able to do that so well?
Well, when the lockdown first happened, honestly, for the first 2 weeks, we really didn't know how we were gonna proceed with. We didn't know how long this was gonna take. But thankfully, with everyone in the team pitched in. The website that we have now, the web store, we actually developed that in a span of about a month. So from the encoding, from just like generating everything, so we couldn't have done it without the team. We also
True.
started to do a lot of IGTV during
Yeah, yeah,
E3.
you're
So
right.
we just
I
wanted
saw. I've been
to
seeing
engage
your stuff.
we just wanted to engage.
Hmm.
Yeah, we just wanted to get, nobody was doing anything at home. Everyone was stuck. We just wanted to get reach out to our community, to people that follow our store, to say, okay, we're not doing anything. Might as well get in touch with some of the artisans of the brands that we work with. Let's reach out to them. Let's see what's going on. Let's find out more about the brand, the products. So I think that really resonated well with our community. And once we opened, once we hit MECQ, GCQ, they really supported us by continue to buying from us, whether online or in store still. But I think we've still got a ways to go. There are things we need to improve. The future is still quite uncertain, especially for us in retail, and us especially in specialty retail rather. So we're just trying our best, trying to just connect with our community.
Hi. Well, I think you've been connecting quite well. You clearly know your clientele. I remember that you had some new glasses that came in, and I was telling Bryce or someone's like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna get over there at all. I was like, that's okay, we'll send them all to you. And I'm like, okay. But that I mean, it's a case of understanding your client and knowing them on a personal level. So I think it's quite good. I mean, why don't each of you give us an idea of a couple brands that you find really interesting, and how you ended up choosing them, and what people have, how they've responded.
Okay. One of I guess one of my I guess I can spill the beans because this brand's coming in September. So one of the brands that I've been really a big fan of way before we started the store is this brand called Bisvin.
Okay, yeah.
Um, I really admire their ethos. Yeah, the way they approach product. And honestly, when we started, we didn't fit. We didn't think we'd be a good fit for them, even though I was a fan of the brand. But as we progressed, as the stores started to change, we started to see an opportunity where we can see this one being presented as a mix with the rest of our stuff. It took us about a year and a half of back and forth going to their Paris showroom, I think twice, and then Eddie had to fly into Japan just to talk to them. And we're happy to announce, we're having the first delivery this September. So
Cool. Well,
that's really
congratulations.
exciting for us. Thank you.
Congratulations. How would you describe Visvim to your usual clientele then? What is it that's different about them?
Visvim is they really reference a lot of vintage clothing, but then they're so focused on fabric. So focused on construction. It's sort of they're trying to replicate how it was made before, but using more modern techniques. So
Okay.
they've done so before a garment or a pair of shoes is released by them. They've gone through so many iterations. They've gone through, they call it dissertations. They call each season dissertation. So it's basically constant improvement on the process, constant improvement of looking for the best fabrics, looking out for vintage fabrics and how they're able to replicate it. It's just, we always say quality, quality, quality. But this is really an eye for detail, really a different level on how they look at quality.
So let's say the Visvim buyer,
That's true.
where would he? What other of your brands would he be coming from? Let's say the guy who buys ring jacket or your bespoke stuff. Is he gonna move to Visvim, or is this a whole different line?
We actually carry a mix. For this first delivery, we picked out certain stuff that fits between both worlds. So definitely more towards the casual workwear. So we're gonna see a lot of boots, but we're also gonna see a lot of plain T-shirts that are made from like very nice cotton. I think regardless of whether you're a customer of bespoke or you're a customer of our casual workwear line, one thing that's constant, regardless of the brands that we carry, is we always look at the quality, we always look at the details, and we always look at the brand owner, who's behind the brand. So these are things that we consider, and I think these are what resonates to our customers. Not necessarily, oh, I just like to wear suits. But if you're a fan of craft, you see the same elements across the board of the brands that we carry.
Okay. So Eddie, what about you? What are you excited about? Either
Oh,
coming up
oh,
or whatever you can tell us.
I think yeah, I'm gonna continue what Jason discussed with Fist Vim, and I think we're at the point in our brand list that we need to put a bridge between what you just said, Carla, bespoke, and the like really rugged side. So with the brands coming in this year and until next year, who they'll be the brands that's gonna bridge the two. So like this Vim, we're gonna bring in this Vim that will bridge like people who really like bespoke, like who buys bespoke Dalcore, who chooses like really like vicuñas or like really high quality fabrics for their overcoats or suits or whatnot. And Visvim is like a mix of like the rugged side and then on the bespoke side fabric option. So and then what we bring in also is rolling blazers from New York. So they're like a really young preppy clothing, like really
Okay.
early polo, but they made it more street, so it's more palatable to the younger generations right now. So for the younger generation who doesn't want to like buy like a ring jacket or go into individualized shirts or the brand or Dalcore, um, this is like their how do you call it? Like entry point. Like like
Okay.
oh I can wear this because I've seen this. I can wear this, and then eventually, of course, when they graduate from this, it's like that's what I said. That's right. It's like a bridge between for the
Yeah, yeah.
younger market, and then also J Press. We're gonna bring in J Press.
Really?
Yeah. So they shifted a bit to the street style.
Hmm.
I mean, no, not really like street, but it's more of like
Yeah.
yeah for the younger generation. That's what we call our a more palatable market. So we need to go into this, and then we can also cater to the younger
Yeah,
market.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
same with this.
that's interesting because J Press is a large group. It's not, you know, it's not some of these guys you bring in are a storefront or they're a small maker, but J Press is a long standing, somewhat large group. So the fact that they've decided to go with you is quite commendable.
Oh yeah, I think it's just because of the history of us carrying all these brands, and
Yeah, yeah.
then maintaining the relationship and then the reputation. I think really helps with
Yeah.
getting these brands to work with us. Yeah.
Right. What about denim and jeans? How's that seems to be just growing for you guys quite well. You bring in the jeans makers, you bring in, but how's that doing? Because how do you differentiate what you have from, let's say, what everyone else looks at in terms of normal denim?
It's actually the fabric and
Hmm.
the fit, and each brand we have, it's different. It's different. I mean, if you're into like motorcycling, you would go into one of the brands we have like Trophy Clothing, and then if you're going to the preppy side, you would go into Resolute. And if you want to go into the more military, like World War II, like like really vintage reproduction, you go to the real McCoys or Full Count. It's more of like the denim. The denim we have right now. It's more of like it's there. It's
Hmm.
steady. It's like it didn't like shoot up like that. It's like it's always like flat. So we just have to restock. We buy and restock. But the difference between from the other denims, it's as you know how the Japanese
Hmm.
are. They really make things better. They copy and then they make it really really nice, and then it just makes you feel that you've lived in those those bygone eras. When
Hmm.
you buy a certain pair from a certain era, they really try to replicate even the details and everything. Yeah.
What what brands do you guys have that you find that people really hunt for and they really come to you for? Even people who are traveling. And I know that you guys did well when I started seeing your shop bags on airplanes flying out. That meant someone went to you to buy something and flew out of the country with it. So, but what kind of brand? What are the brands that are drawing people into your shop?
I think recent for the past 2 years, I think
Hmm.
Alden, because we've been doing our collaborations with them, and some of our collaborations you can only get it like
Yeah.
specifically from us. So, because when I was starting out buying Aldens, I would do the same. I would fly to Hong Kong or Japan or anywhere to if I'm there, I would, and if they have my size, I would buy it. I think it's the same. It's the same thing with a lot of our these customers. Lately, I think also it's been Paraboot from France. So,
Hmm.
um, not a lot of people carry
No.
carry the brand, yeah. But we've had them since forever. I think Jason, I think 2016, right? We've had them
Yeah,
forever.
I
And
think 2016 or 2017. So
yeah,
usually when we brought in the Para Boots, we were like, we're not sure if this is gonna do well. Nobody's really looking for them.
uh,
Honestly, for the first year or so, people didn't really look at them. But for some reason, the past 2 years, I guess, people started to really like the chunkiness
Yeah.
of the sole and how it looks with denim or with trousers. So the past 2 years has been,
good
I would say, a big uptick
job.
in terms of Paraboot purchases from our customers.
Yeah, because the first year, if I can remember, we only sold 3 pairs on the first year we had them. So we're like, we're gonna have a lot of dead stock from this brand.
were any of the so what are the okay, like Paraboot is an example. I mean, the denim, that's easy. You can tell what denim heads are going to buy. You can tell what they're not going to buy. But what about the other? What are the other surprise brands that you guys have found clicked more than you thought they would?
Barbour.
That's actually a very good question.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Barber has a following, and they have a following, and it's a very it's an unusual following. It's partly trendy, but it's also partly really, really old school outerwear.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. We were surprised that people were looking for, like, hey, do you still have this in our size and our this and this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so and I think
Honestly, I think one of the most surprising things, one of the most surprising things so far that we've found is the willingness of people to buy bespoke. When Kelly approached us the idea of doing trunk shows for made to measure bespoke suits way back in 2014, 24, yeah, 2014, I could say I was like, I could say I was a bit skeptical. I was like, I wonder if this will work. But as with anything that we've done so far, we just went with our gut. We just went for it, and thankfully, people actually came to us. They wanted to get suits made. They wanted to try out having a bespoke suit done. They understood the process, how long it took, and as they started to understand more about what makes bespoke boot really special,
Mhm.
I think that made them to that sort of convinced them to get more to buy so to commission a suit every now and then with us. And honestly, that the past 5 years, that's been a very big part of our business. The bespoke, well, not just suits, but also for shoes,
Mhm.
all the artisans that we work with for trousers. It's a big driver for our business, for our store.
Well, that's what Kelly was saying. He was saying we should actually do these chat sessions with your artisans, with your friends, and just to get an idea
Mm,
of so that people can meet them. And they're
yeah.
very interesting. They all have hugely interesting stories. They're all characters. The one that
Yeah.
right,
surprised
yeah,
me,
for sure.
sometimes things like you have the bespoke glasses, right? And
Yeah,
that one surprised me, how well it took. And then you have several levels of, because there are people who now make what they call, I wouldn't call them custom, but they'd be more like customizable glasses. But that's very different from what you guys have, which is basically from the ground up, they create everything. And it was a hugely interesting thing to watch.
and what these are our artists. They're artisans. You can really see their passion behind the craft.
Mhm.
They've worked years to develop their craft, to reach where they are. It's easy to say, oh, anybody can cut a pair of trousers. Anybody can cut a pair of, I mean, you can just have the suit done anywhere. But once you experience bespoke, once you understand really what goes into the process, how much handwork goes into the making of a suit, how the understanding, getting a better understanding of the fabric, I would say actually these garments are of very good value because
Mhm.
one thing that I always tell to our clients, to my friends, a lot of the stuff that we have in store, these will last you a long time. These will last
Mhm.
you at if you really good care of them, at the minimum a decade. You know,
Oh yeah,
at most
definitely.
maybe you can pass them on to hopefully your children if you have the same size. So I mean, even our own personal stuff that we get from the store. I have stuff that's been with me 5 7 years. I still wear them quite regularly. It's just a matter of taking care of them, knowing how to wash them, how to press them,
Mhm.
taking or for shoes, how to clean them, brush them, wax them, to give them protection so that they can withstand the rigors of daily use.
Well, you guys just did an online shoe shining clinic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then I know that you regularly have shoe shine days or trimming hemming days, right, in the shop for your denim and so on. And then that's translated quite well onto, especially for the shoe shining, right? That translated quite well online, and I saw the number of people, myself included, who signed up for it. So
Yeah. So we're actually doing another one of those in the next week. It's really done. I think our community has responded quite well to those videos. So we're thinking of doing more, trying to talk about shoe and boot construction next, maybe in 2 weeks' time. So we really want to get in depth into the product because at the end of the day, that's really what draws us to the brand. Like our love for the product, our love for the artisan, our love for the details. So we hope we can share that same passion, that same obsession with our community as well.
well, you've done a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. This is a good start into us discussing everything Signet. From here, we'd like to go into more stuff about your particular brands and chat with them about that. But thank you very, very much. It is a very evil thing that you do. It's no plan works when you walk into that store. It just doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know what to say. You're
Yeah,
bad for people. So
Thanks, Carl, for having us.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate the support as always.
no, it's our pleasure, and you're a gem to work with because you just understand everything. You understand why we want to obsess about the way a thread is done, or why a roll that you're never going to realize is there does something. And it's great to talk to people who understand that. And it's great to be educated by your guys. You have a great staff, by the way. They really know their stuff, and that which is a function of you guys training them extremely well and choosing them very well.
Thank you, Carl. We
So,
try our best.
Thank you, Carl.
No, it's our pleasure completely. Thank you very, very much. Let us know what you're going to do next, besides BizVim, and whatever new brands you're going to get. But congratulations, and thank you very, very much.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, Carl.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching us. Check out Signet, but be ready because they're dangerous. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a nice
Nice
day.
day.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.